Guys, don't you just love that card? Well, we're going to go ahead and make that card today. And what you're going to start off with is a piece of watercolor paper. This one here is measured at 4 by 5 1/4. So what you're going to do is we're going to use 2 different colors to stamp on here. We're going to do our soft sky for the top half and pear pizzazz for the bottom half. I'm using the block E today to do this. And all you're going to want to do is just take your ink pad and we're just going to stamp this on top of your block. Make sure you get enough on there. And then you're going to take spritzer. I'm using the Stampin' Up spritzer, and then your aqua painter you're going to need. So you're just going to take your spritzer, and the first thing we're going to do is just spritz up our card. And then you want to take your aqua painter and just kind of spread the water. Don't add any more water, just spread the water to it. I'm just going to move my watercolor paper and show you, you just want to spritz your block. So just give it a little bit of water there. Then you're going to bring back in your piece of watercolor paper, and you're going to take about half the block and you're just going to stamp it down. And what's going to happen is it's going to, when you lift it, the water and the color, the ink's going to move. So we're going to take with our aqua painter and just spread that ink around just to cover all the white spots. And then we're going to let that set. So we're going to do the same thing for the bottom. You're going to take your pear pizzazz and you're just going to ink up your block. And then when you spritz your block, you want to spritz it away from your watercolor paper so you don't get spots of the ink over there. Spritz my block. And then you're going to line this up and you're going to stamp the bottom with your pear pizzazz. And again, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to kind of run. So then you just take your aqua painter and just kind of blend those ink spots up. And then you just want to make sure your line, your green and your blue meet, so there's no white in between there. And then we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to do some stamping on it. And then with your aqua brush, just make sure before you put it away that you just make sure it runs clear. So once your piece of watercolor paper has dried, we're going to go ahead and stamp on that. And we're going to use the new stamp set Waterfront. It's out of the Occasions catalog. So we're going to go ahead, and the first thing we're going to stamp is the mountain. We're going to stamp that out in Night of Navy. With this, we're going to go ahead and stamp out your mountain about 1/4 to almost halfway across your page. And you're going to line it up with the green, so the green is on the bottom. Then you're going to take on the other side, and you're going to leave a little space for your house there. So you're going to stamp about half the mountain or so. So you have a little space right there for your house. So then to build up my mountain, what I did was I inked up my mountain, and then I kind of, where the little crevice is in here, if you guys can see that, I stuck the tip of the stamp there and kind of stamped up at an angle, just like that. And then I went ahead and stamped another little angle here so that it looks like your mountain is gradually building up. So it's a taller type mountain. And then I just filled it in here. And then you can also, like, if it's too straight, you know, just eye it and see how you want your mountain shape to be. So that's all I did for that, and it gives it the texture so it looks like it's a mountain there. And then I did the same thing on this side. This one, same kind of concept. Just build your mountain up, just like so. So, and then like the white spots here, all these little white spots, I kind of just filled them in with my, just like that. So it depends on how tall you want your mountains, how wide you want them. So the next stamp out of here that I'm using is this one here. It's like the water scene. So this one here, we're going to use Pacific Point. And we're going to start right where the little hole is between the two mountains there. And what I did was I just took and I kind of stamped right on the line there where the Pear Pizzazz and the Soft Sky meet. So because that did not stamp all the way, what I really should have, because these are photopolymer stamps, is my foam mat underneath. So I'm just going to go ahead and re-stamp that. And what a difference that mat makes. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take your stamp, turn it upside down, and we're going to kind of fill in the bottom here. And if you want to put a piece of scrap paper down so you don't get ink on here, you can. This will rub clean with a wipe. So then you're just going to kind of fill in the blanks there. So now I'm just going to kind of give this a little bit more texture there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our aqua painter and we're going to turn this into a very, very pretty water scene. There's two different aqua painters that Stampin' Up! Offers. There's one with a fatter brush and there's one with a skinny brush. So for this one here, I'm going to use the fatter brush tip. And then you're just going to kind of go over this. Stay close to the edges here. And you're just going to kind of spread this blue Pacific Point color around. And what it does is it kind of mixes with the Pear Pizzazz and gives you a very pretty watercolor. So once you have that all mixed up the way you like it, you can see kind of like the green coming out in there and then the dark blues. It's very, very pretty together. So then you just want to make sure you go ahead and wipe off your tip of your aqua painters. So when this dries, you can either let it air dry or you can use your heat tool and dry it that way. So once it's completely dry, I'm going to use the trees out of this stamp set right here. And I'm going to stamp out our trees in Tranquil Tide. And I just did two sets of trees, one on this side of the mountain and one on the other side of the mountain. I'm going to take the circle here and I'm going to use crushed curry. And I'm going to stamp that right in between the two mountains here. And I'm going to give it another coat. You can leave it like that, or you can take your aqua painter and kind of blend it together with that soft sky. It gives it a really vibrant yellow. So the next thing we're going to do is stamp out the little house. I chose to use the color Tangerine Tango. I wanted the house to kind of pop out. So we're just going to stamp that right in between the two mountains here. Just like so. And then to finish it up, the last part of our stamping is the little specks here. We're going to stamp that in our stream. Take those speckles and stamp them out in basic gray. And I'm going to stamp them right in the stream. So you might have to angle this so that it stamps all in the blue. And it's very faint to see, but it gives it some texture in there. The last part of this stamping is we're going to use our basic black. And I'm using the Every Little Kindness Makes the World Brighter on here. And I'm just going to stamp this up at the top. just like that. So to finish this up, we're just going to put this on a Tangerine Tango card base. So it's A2 size, so that is 5.5 by 4.25. And with the watercolor paper, because it's thicker, I always like to use fast fuse on that, or some kind of heavy adhesive. Your Tombow mono glue would work, something strong. So we're just going to apply this to the front of the card. And that's it. It doesn't need anything else. It's beautiful the way it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.